Hello again everybody, back with another video, a Saturday night video, uh, even though I said yesterday's was a Saturday night video. I'd had a couple of beers at the time and I was a bit confused, and I lost today. But this video is the second video I've made on the Ukraine war. This one I've called the 666 code of the Russian versus Ukrainian war. And I'm not focusing on 666. Rarely is that number used, but it is occasionally. But there are various code that represent 666 that I will highlight. But first, before I move into the code, just like to say that governments, leaders, they're all on the same side, and they all throw up the hand signs. So we've got Putin, we've got Zelensky, Russia, Ukraine, but they're all working for the same people, and they're all throwing, like he is here, a Freemasonic sign, just like Winston Churchill did. He's throwing up the devil horns here, and here's this actor, the same as this actor, puppets, throwing up the devil horns, and here 666 hand sign. There's many more for this character, not so many, but if you look you can find them. So they're all on the same side, so whatever's going on is planned. And my take on the war: there is some conflict between Russia orientated people in the Ukraine and the Zelensky government forces in the Ukraine, which are allegedly quite corrupt, and this is driven by a common enemy to us all, i.e. the world elite, through you name it, whoever's at the centre of it. But we have lots and lots of Freemasonic influence on all this. It's been going on for many years as the conflict in the Ukraine, but innocent, well-meaning, but deceived, confused, ill-informed people are dying, as is always the case in these wars. Every war that people can remember has been driven by the world elite, by the same side, pitching people against people. So it's very much this one a proxy war. The size of it is very questionable. You've got Russian supporting the Russian orientated Ukrainians, helping and fighting the Ukrainian government forces, which is being propped up by the so-called West. But it's all a picture show. It is controlled by the same people. And the conflict and the war, if you've watched some of the news, I can't watch it anymore, is vastly exaggerated by the press. And so I believe is the amount of money and arms that the Western countries are allegedly sending to them. And also it's very heavily coded to tell you the people that are doing it. So this is a planned and elite orchestrated war, and it's being used for a multitude of purposes. There's a green agenda. It's driving up the price of gas, coal, oil, and this is up pushing the shitty junk science green agenda that CO2 is causing all kinds of problems. But just a little bit, if you look back and you do a little bit of searches, you'll see that the so-called greenhouse effect, if it didn't exist, the world would be 33 degrees cooler. There you go. And this whole thing will further build on the destruction of the country, economies across the world, following the fantastic job they did with, I've put an N in there. That was a spelling mistake. It should say COVID. And its leading rise, combined with that to massive inflation, which takes people's savings away, massive interest rate rises are due, food prices are going up, and the shortages, it's damaging farming because of the shortage of fertilizers, and it's also rubbing in the damage that COVID did to small businesses, medium to small businesses that are not in the hands of the elite. That's just my take on this. So you could agree or disagree, but there is certainly some level of conflict, and there's no doubt that in any of these things, people are dying, and it's usually innocent people, ill-informed people, people that think they're doing a just cause, but they're not. They're just being led along. And moving on, we'll get on to some code now. So 156 code. This is a very interesting code number because 666 in English, ordinal, where A is 1, Z is 26, is 156. 911 is related to 666 because, as we can see here, here's prime numbers. 911 is the 156th prime number. Very interesting, that one. And if we look at it in Roman numerals, we've got IXXI for 911, and that is very similar to the 2 columns and the Masonic sign here. Masonic temple related 911. And it gets even more interesting because 33 spelt out in English is 156. It's also 66 in Pythagorean numerology or full reduction. And if we look at this 911 in Roman numerals and put it in a calculator in English ordinal, it's 66. So you can see a gematria link to all these numbers, and you can see why 911, 33, 666, they all relate together in numerology, which I find quite fascinating. It also gives you a clue to what's going on when you see the code. So let's have a quick look, and I'll go through these as quickly as I can in terms of 156 code. So the dates, they're just anything I've found, and I've not put them in chronological order or anything. But here we've got Monaco Red Cross raises 1.56 million. There's our 156 to aid the Ukraine. Here we've got an open letter of 156, not 154, not 157, 156 experts on Eastern Europe and international security to the German government. Immediately increase Berlin's support for the Ukraine. That's what they've said, 156 of them. 666 or 33. And Ukrainian Zelensky says 156 people evacuated from the Azovstal steel plant. Here we've got National Bank of Ukraine over UAH, 15.6 billion transferred for needs of military. There you go, there's another 156. Here we've got something looking at Russian losses. We've got aircraft, but we have 156 helicopters lost. Here you can see 1130, 11.3, 311s, there's a 33 there. I have pulled that one up in another video. Here we've got war in Ukraine, then Croatia's Podravka, a net profit of 15.6%. There you go. We've got another 156 there. Here we've got Ukraine's military, 15,600 Russian troops killed since Feb 24. So there's our 156. Here we've got over 15,600 people evacuated from Donbass. There's our 156. Here we've got over 156,000 people evacuated from Ukraine. There's our 156 again. Here we've got Italy seizes 156 million in oligarch wealth pressing Putin. Here we've got inflation in Russia climbs above 15.6%. Another 156. And here we've got market news. Russia Consumer Price Index declined 1.56% in April. There's our 156 again. And this one is about Russia's coal output and its fall. And it could decrease 30% to 156 million tonnes. There's our 156 again. Here we've got Zelensky honoured another 156 village officials. So we've had lots and lots, as you saw, 156 code, which is, to me, represents 33 and 666, and it's related to 9/11. Then we've got 42 code, and 42 code is quite important because it brings 666 and 777 together. So there's the calculation, pretty easy. 6 times 6 is 36, plus 6 is 42. So this is the one I'm interested in for this video, but you can see it can resemble 777 as well. Okay. So we've got here 42 Ukrainian troops surrender in Mariupol. Here we've got a Ukraine official. Russia captured 42 villages. Here we've got ICC sends 42 member team to probe alleged war crimes. So they didn't send 40 or 41, they sent 42. Here we've got Putin loses his 42nd colonel. The colonels apparently are dropping like flies in the Ukraine. Must be in the front line, painted in bright yellow with a big cross as a target on the chest or something, but they're losing lots of those. Here we've got police say 42 killed in Odessa in worst violence of Ukraine crisis. Here we've got Russia-Ukraine war may expose 42% of Indian firms to significant risks. Here we've got 42% of Americans are delaying investment due to the Ukraine conflict. Here we've got only 42 days ago, Ukraine's new video on city retaken from the Russians. Here we've got Zelensky, some 42 states to join Ukraine's proceedings against Russia. Here we've got JP Morgan earnings dropped by 42%. All related to the Ukrainian war, of course. University of Eastern Finland to admit 42 students from the Ukraine. Ukraine has seized 420 million. There's a 42 in assets belonging to a sanctioned Russian oligarch. I bet they have. Not. Here we've got 227 children killed, 420 wounded in the Ukraine. This one says UN says over 4,200 civilian casualties to date, so there's another 42. Here we've got a company raises more than £4,200 for a Red Cross humanitarian efforts in Ukraine. There's another 42 there. Russian-Ukraine over 4,200 criminal proceedings for violating the laws and customs of the war. So there's another 42. Here we've got more than 4,200 civilians were evacuated during Saturday's day. Here we've got thank you for helping raise 42,000 for journalists in the Ukraine. Journalists, complete lying you-know-whats, don't deserve a penny, but there you go. Ukraine to import 420,000 tonnes of fuel. Here we've got Derry Diocesan Ukraine appeal tops 420,000 euros. There's another 42. Here we've got nearly 4.2 million Ukrainians are now flooded out of war-torn homeland. Another 42. Here we've got BASF and its employees donate an additional 4.2 million euros Here we've got Russian cyber spying targets, 42 Ukrainian allies. Here we've got 42 equipment units destroyed in South Ukraine. Here we've got Luxembourg says it's frozen 4.2 billion in Russian assets. There's another 42. It's never ending. Ukraine 2022 wheat crop seen down 42%. So lots and lots of 42. Now look now at 36 code. So 36 is 3 sixes for 666, but also 63 is reverse 36, but it's also 3 sixes too. So I'll go through both of those, starting with 36. So Russian war in Ukraine causing 3.6 billion of building damage a week. IMF cuts global growth forecast to 3.6% as Ukrainian war hits neighbours hard. So there's another 36 for 666. Here's Russian-Ukraine war approaches Kiev. 3.6 million refugees flee. You can see the pattern here, can't you? Montenegro's GDP growth to slow to 3.6% in 2022 due to, guess what? The Ukrainian bloody war. Next one, Putin loses his 36 kernel. So we've gone down a bit here. This is an earlier report. So as I say, kernels are disappearing like mad. Out of ammunition, Ukraine's 36th Marine Brigade surrenders. 36th one has gone for the 666. Here we've got Russia says it's killed 310 Ukrainian fighters, destroying 36 military equipment in 24 hours. Ukraine crisis, Russia bans flights from 36 countries. One seat in coach, 36 suitcases. So there you go, another 36. UN says more than 360 people killed since the conflict began. Here we've got Ukraine, Russia, latest news live. UK delivers 3,600 anti-tank missiles. Here we've got Montco, Paris raises $3,600 for the Ukraine hospital. So church is in on the act. Good old God-loving people that they are. And Russia has destroyed more than 3,600 military targets in Ukraine. Where does it end? Russian military deaths past 36,000, Ukraine says. Or the press says. Ukraine armed forces killed 36 Russian soldiers. Russia fines Google $360 million over Ukraine content. Banks are stopping Putin from tapping a 630 billion war chest. So now we're into 63 code for 666. Here we've got over 6,300 Russian war crimes under investigation. We've got over 6,300 foreigners kept hostage by Ukrainian nationalists. We've got 6.3 million refugees enter the EU from Ukraine and Moldova since the war started. We've got UK gas imports may fund Putin's war in Ukraine. We've got to stop using gas, stop giving Putin the money. Let's all freeze to death and shower and bath in cold water to stop all that. And of course we'll help the save the world from global warming. Here we've got 63-year-old retired Russian fighter pilot shot down in his Su-25 over the Ukraine. And we've got Ukraine suffers $63 billion worth of infrastructure damage. EU takes bulk of 63 billion in Russian fossil fuel exports during the Ukraine war. God, this is going on. I'm talking a lot, my mouth's drying up. Ukraine-Russia conflict, Swiss reports 6.3 billion Swiss francs in frozen Russian assets. Here we've got 31 flights to evacuate over 6,300 Indians from Ukraine. So there's our 36 and 63 code. Now let's have a look. We're getting close to the end now, guys. I realise this is quite a long one. We'll look at 216 code, which is 6 times 6 times 6. And also 612, we'll see a bit of code there, is 216 in reverse. So we've got almost 2.16 million people leave Ukraine in 13 days of war. So there's our 216 for 666, or 6 times 6 times 6. Germany plans 216 billion green energy investments to ease Russian gas reliance. So yeah, put loads of solar panels, loads more windmills, get a very overcast, very bleak, cold winter's day, and your windmills and solar panels don't work. What are you going to do to heat your people? You're going to leave them to blooming freeze to death, aren't you? Of course you are. Anyway, AFU general staff, about 21.6 thousand occupants and 177 enemy aircraft have already been destroyed. There's another 216. Ukraine has received 216 tons of emergency and medical supply. 21,600 Russian troops killed. So we've got our 216 there. Here's another one. Russia loses today. Ukrainian defenders have killed 33,350 occupiers and destroyed 14 ships and 216 for 6 times 6 times 6 aircraft. Here we've got Biden announces our 612 million in new military assistance. So there's our 216 in reverse. Here we've got 24,000 Ukrainian refugees arrived in Hungary over the weekend. And this one says, while another 6,120 from Ukraine crossed from Romania. And here it is expanded for our 612, which is reverse 216. And here we've got Japan invested 61.2 billion yen in Russia, according to the finance ministry. All linked to the Ukraine war, this subject, but look, there's our 612 again. And here we have one of Russia's biggest cruisers has sunk off the Ukraine. And apparently the size of this boat was 612 feet. So there you go. Another 216 in reverse. But interestingly, this ship's called the Moskva. And you've got 81, 18, 81, 36 in English ordinal Pythagorean reverse, English ordinal reverse Pythagorean, and these reverse 18, 18, reverse 18 are 3 sixes. 18 is 3 sixes for 18, which is 666 across the board. And this happened in Odessa. And English ordinal is 63 for 666. Pythagorean is 18 for 3 sixes for 666. So that's it. A very long video, lots and lots of code. So I'll say thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and goodbye.